Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Wildgate tier list. Today we're talking about ship upgrades, hardpoint upgrades, and like every other intro, I just want to remind you that if you're looking for competitive Wildgate players, join Monolith down in the Discord below and make some friends. So let's get started. Number one, we got shield device. This gives 10% extra shields. It's a green item. This is kind of garbage, and we'll talk about why in a little bit, but shields are not strong enough in my opinion, and it's hard to get value from them to begin with. You'd have to have a competent pilot that rotates your ship during the fight. That isn't always going to be the priority, so shield device is one of the first things that we would typically replace. Probe sensor. Probe sensor can go ahead, go down into F tier. Half the time we don't even install it on our ship. We just go ahead and straight recycle it. The only thing that it does is increase the scan distance by 300 meters and then increase the amount of time that a ship remains on the map by 2 minutes. While it is nice, it is really not that difficult to keep mental track of what's going on in your match. You should generally know where all the ships are at all times. Probe sensor is literally just a quality of life function. It is a great thing to recycle and get rid of. And if you don't have a SAL, then what are you doing for one? And number two, just throw it overboard, I guess. It's really not valuable. Storm shield. Again, dude, I'm starting off with a bunch of really weak ones. The storm shield is E tier. It's not completely useless, but yeah, actually, it's kind of on the line there. It can be useless if there's no storm. So it is something that we typically recycle very quickly, or it's one of the first things that gets removed. If there is a storm, half the time it is uninstalled, sitting next to a hard point that we can replace it with if we need to go into the storm for some reason. It's pretty bad. The fire shield, on the other hand, just got a buff, and the fire shield is useful for a couple different reasons. The fire shield will reduce the overall tendency for fire to spread on your ship, and for those that don't know, fire does not do damage to your ship until there is 10 fires. So this will mitigate the amount of time it takes for fire to actually spread and start doing damage to your ship, so that alone is super valuable. But number two, it allows you to fly through the magma fields, and if you're trying to kite somebody out and they don't have a fire shield, I don't really know how you would know this unless you tried it, but if they don't have a fire shield, you can go through there and navigate through there. And fire shields are pretty good for, or magma areas are good for like denying borders and stuff like that. So if you were playing a privateer and you wanted to kind of kite, keep them at range, and then deny border access, this could be pretty good, because if they have to fly through a magma shield, it's not going to do a ton of damage, but they will not be able to fly home or return home or teleport home. So the fire shield is pretty good. I'll put it in B tier. It's not like, oh my god, we got a fire shield, but it's like not bad. The booster, this is again dependent on your ship that you're flying. This is like super good on the scout. On the bastion, I would say this is worse. It's not something that bastion players are typically looking for. So I'll put it in C tier. It's good to have. It definitely gets installed, but it's not like make or break. Oh my gosh. There might be some cool like meta or cool moments where you find like 5 of these and you can kind of go crazy, but outside of that, it's kind of whatever. Security device. The security device got a nerf. I'm not quite positive how it works right now. There's a button on it that you can physically press that will shut all doors, and I do believe that it also shuts all doors 1 second after somebody comes on board, which to me is like kind of useless. Maybe if the security device had a detector so that if a player was coming up to an armored door, it would shut it. It would get a lot more value. But this is one of the first things that we recycle. It comes for free on the Bastion. It alerts you when somebody comes on board. It's like, again, it's not that hard to be competent and be paying attention to your match. The security device is largely useless. It's a good recycler. The shock field. Ha! Finally, we're getting into the really good stuff. The shock field is straight up S tier. With the new balance patch, players cannot teleport home if they've recently taken damage. Recently taken damage, the shock field does just enough damage in just a high enough frequency that it blocks people from teleporting home. So if you catch a player in the shock field, it is an automatic kill, which is fantastic. And like you guys know, if you die, your spectator camera goes out and you can kind of watch your ship in the third person. So as long as you're communicating with your teammates, the shock field can really, really be powerful. And we almost never recycle this. Typically we try to shoot for at least 2, We might even run 3 depending on the other hard points that we're competing with. Late game, if we have like multiple ship cores and things that need to get kind of swapped out, we might dump it, but at least you want to always have 2 of these if possible. It is super, super powerful, especially against competent players and good teams. Laser Ram. The Laser Ram is another straight up S tier. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, the Laser Ram will bump it down into A tier because there are reasons why you wouldn't want this. If you're playing a dedicated privateer build with nothing but cannons, the privateer does not have a good slot for the Laser Ram, which is rough. You can still get value from it if you have a good pilot, and we've done it, but the Laser Ram doesn't get value all the time. In fact, we were recycling these at certain times. The other downside of the Laser Ram is, unless you're playing the Scout, every other ship that can use it only has 1 good hardpoint, which is 2 other ships. I know there's only 4 ships in the game, but the Scout gets real value from this. On the Scout, this is S tier. It really makes the ship lethal, but on everything else it's not, so I can't really justify putting it into A tier. It is, or into S tier. It is super good a lot of the time, and it can definitely win you fights. This is something that other players will often try to steal. One tip for the Laser Ram, if you haven't seen it yet, is you lay it uninstalled next to the slot that it would go into. That's risk reward. If somebody's coming on board and they see it, they might grab it and teleport home instantly, so they don't have that long 3 seconds of like uninstalling it. But if you hide it, and the enemy team might not be more inclined to run away from you. If I see a Scout with 2 Laser Rams out the front coming towards us, we're running from that. We're making as much space as we can and trying to chip them down as they come towards us. So hiding it is definitely a strategy that's really, really powerful. The SAL device, this only is available if you have SAL or if you steal it off somebody else's ship. It gives you ammo regen plus, I think it's 20% extra shields. This is pretty good. I'd say this is on fire shield level. It's up there, maybe even A tier. I would replace a fire shield for a SAL device just because you're going to get value out of the SAL device no matter what. You might not get value out of the fire shield. So SAL device is definitely an A tier. It's really good. And it removes the need to also run ammo regen. So ammo regen we'll put down here in E tier. Ammo regen is only good at the very beginning of a match where you don't have enough ammo to brawl out with somebody. Most of the time, if you're playing SAL, which almost every team has a SAL because he's such a staple, eventually you'll get a SAL device which has the ammo regen, which just makes ammo regen even worse. I would like to see ammo regen get a small buff. Maybe it's a 10% faster reload speed on your turrets in addition. You got more ammo, you might as well have some way to expend it more frequently, but very rapidly does ammo become a non-factor in basically every single match. I think we've only ever had an issue with ammo one time, and it's when we rushed a team and then got third-partied after we killed them. We had to board the enemy ship and steal their ammo as like the priority action at that moment, so it's like super rare you get value out of the ammo regen. The mine layer, skipping over the mine layer, which is straight up S tier right now. The mine layer is phenomenal. It is one of the best items in the game right now. It is super good on basically every ship except for the privateer, and even on the privateer we still run it because you can put it on the back or you can put it on the sides. Oftentimes we'll have more than one of these. If you put it on each side of the privateer, you can shoot them out and create a channel that the enemy has to follow you through, otherwise they take huge amounts of damage. On the back it also creates kind of a net there. You can't really shoot them out the front, but what we've done in the past, if we're playing the Bastion or any other ship, shooting mine layers out the front can create a net that other players will have to fly into if they want to push you with their own laser rams or with their own mine layers. And if you're playing the Scout, the mine layer turns the Scout into just the ultimate glass cannon. It's very easy to hit yourself with the mine layer and do shit tons of damage to yourself. Ship tons of damage, that's funny. But if you shoot the mine layer out the front, it does a huge amount of damage. We're talking like between 30 and 50 damage per push. They recently nerfed it. The nerf was like nowhere near what they needed to do. You can basically push this thing like every 10 seconds, which is absolutely absurd. 2 of them will take out a full health Bastion in under 30 seconds. I've got clips that I could probably put on the screen that just show how absolutely busted this item is. It is super, super powerful. It's one of the best items in the game. Not quite good as Shockfield, I don't think, because it's not as utilitarian, but it is fantastic on almost every ship. The Smuggler turn, again, kind of depends on your build. There are times where this becomes extremely, extremely powerful. The Scout being the best ship in the game, it's really, really good on the Scout. I'd say this is A tier, like you have to have this installed in your ship. But for everybody else, it's kind of like mid. I'd say that this is B. Like I'm excited when we have one. It's kind of frustrating when you don't. You can definitely make certain plays with it. Like if you're playing the Scout, you want to be above or below privateers. You don't want to be anywhere near their guns. You don't even want to be behind them. So the Smuggler turn allows you to really kind of like capitalize on that and put yourself in a really good position to utilize your mine layers, your laser rams, your other things that you really care about when you're playing Scout. So it is good. It can really get you out of a pinch or kind of surprise the enemy. It's the equivalent of an anchor turn if you've played Sea of Thieves. So it is powerful and useful. The Sal Bomb and the Bomb. The Sal Bomb does 30 damage to an enemy ship, and the Bomb does 20 damage to an enemy ship. Both of these are great. A lot of people will recycle the basic bomb. As somebody who like is primarily a boarder, I always grab these and bring them over. If you're running Thunder Dash, you can. What I like to do is I like to look for a hard point on the outside of the ship before I breach that is open, so I don't have to do a swap. I can just break a door, dash towards it, slam it in the wall instantly, get my gun up, and start fighting. You can also melee while you're carrying it, so if you're playing Ion, you can one-tap people while en route to the slot that you want to install it on. 30 health is a lot of health, guys. 30 health is 1/3 or more of every ship in the game. Well, not the Bastion. It's 1/4 of the Bastion, but it's basically 1/3 of every other ship. 20 damage is still a decent amount. It's 1/4 of a Scout. So, if you could do 25% of their health in one shot while boarding and taking out their action economy of killing their crew, like the bombs are great. They're just really, really good. I think people sleep on them and they recycle them, even though they are really, really powerful. I'll say the Sal Bomb is A tier, and the basic bomb is B tier. One downside of those is if you leave them sitting around, good boarders will notice them and slam them into walls. So I'll constantly look for piles of equipment. If I see a bomb, it's going in a wall instantly. So just be careful of where you store these. I like to keep them next to the helm because often there's not a hard point right next to the helm unless it's the Scout. So just be careful kind of where you keep these because they can be a liability as well. Ship cores and mega cores. Mega core is obvious. Mega core is the best upgrade in the game. It is just straight up amazing. Better than anything else, hands down. The ship core gives 10 extra health. Depends on your ship, right? The Bastion doesn't really need too much extra health. Extra health is never going to be a bad thing, but if it's between a ship core and a shock field, I'd probably take the shock field. It really depends on what the situation is and what kind of ship we're flying. On the Scout, you really need that extra health to stop you from being a glass cannon, especially if you're running a mine layer. You need that extra buffer to be able to delete them before you delete yourself. So the ship core is pretty good. It's definitely better than a fire shield and a smuggler turn. I would replace both of those for the ship core. Is it better than a SAL device? It really depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I'd say it's A tier. It's definitely not bad. One pro tip with the ship core, as soon as you start the match, a lot of times ships will quit or another team will quit for some reason. If they do, they pop up on the map and you can see where they are. The first objective that you do will oftentimes give you a turbine. The first thing you should do is take that turbine and go to that dead ship, wherever it is on the map, grab that ship core. That is such a good upgrade for you, and trading a turbine for a ship core is like no-brainer. Absolutely do that. So I hope this video was useful for you guys. I hope you learned a couple things. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. We got more content coming out every single day for Wildgate. And again, join Monolith down in the Discord below. Thanks, guys.